Hello, welcome back to the Fashion App. This is season 2. I am here at Open Studios, which is co-founded by stylist, consultant, influencer, Miss Alizé DeMange, who I'm going to talk to in a minute, all about her 14 years career in the fashion industry, working as a celebrity stylist, and how she's managed to adapt and evolve her career to get with the times. Okay, my hands are so full, but I'm on my way to Alizé DeMange, and that is who I'm going to be interviewing today. This has been a long time coming. She's so cool. She's got such good style, obviously. I know that she is going to have some really good gems for you because she's so open about her career and her story. She doesn't gatekeep anything. She's been in the game for a really long time. She's seen the changes. Hopefully it'll be a very valuable conversation. I hope you enjoy the interview. Let's go and find Alizé. Hi, I am here with Alizé.
Hello.
Alizé DeMange, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you, Shani?
I'm very fab. Oh, when I don't know what to wear, you're one of the only people's profiles that I go to.
Really?
Yeah, and there's not many.
Oh, that's so funny you say that because
Yeah.
I feel like I go to yours.
Oh, shut up.
No, I do. I love how your thought process is not like mine.
There's not many people that I genuinely, I'm like, fuck, I've got an outfit crisis. I'm like, oh, let me just see like what Alizé's been posting.
I need to post
Because
more
you put
then,
colours
guys.
together nicely, your patterns. Like,
Thank you. That's a proper compliment. These are
Mutual.
not tears of joy. This is just hey for
they are tears of joy. I'm going to start all the way at the beginning. What's
Okay.
your earliest fashion memory?
Earliest fashion memory, definitely one of my big inspos was my grandma, so my nan. She is someone that was always very like, I don't know, in French you call it coquette, but interestingly, coquette is now a aesthetic term. But it's, you know, you're girly, quote unquote girly. So everything, makeup, hair, glam, shoes, furs, all types of like everything you could possibly think of as a collecting person. My nan was and is that, but she's obviously a lot older now and got dementia, so it's kind of different. But she still, you know, knows exactly what she likes. How she pairs colors together is so cute. Like every time I come around with a pair of trainers, she'll be like, "I love these," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So yeah, definitely, she was my earliest fashion memory. And Parent Trap.
Parent Trap. When you were a kid, did you always gravitate towards like the nasty characters in things because they looked really, really better?
No, it was the mum because she was a wedding dress designer, and I was
okay.
like, "Wow, that's so cool."
I forgot she was a dress designer in the movie.
Yeah, she was. That's what it was. I was like, "Wow, that's so cool." Because I remember a scene she was like sketching her dress, and then obviously they were like doing a photo shoot, and I was like, "This sounds like fun." I like this, and then I was very always drawing and stuff, like a very creative child. And then my mum was like really into that, so like I was just always drawing little people with their little outfits on. So I was like, okay, cool, I want to be a designer, but mainly because I just didn't really know anything else.
I think that happens to a lot of people. When you're a kid, you just think fashion, okay, I want to make clothes. You don't really realize there's a whole world out there.
Yeah, no, and especially now it's so much easier because you can see credit lists or like you have more access to people's profiles, knowing exactly what they do or the million things that they do.
Yeah.
Because now it's like it's definitely more of a freelance hustle culture. Like you can't in this economy, you can't just survive off one thing. Sadly, capitalism. That's actually a cool thing about now. You can see all these like new roles popping up that weren't really there before. And I think it's like a better entryway into fashion. Like, look at you. Look at you.
Yeah, look at me and my made-up job. It's true though.
It's not a made-up job though, is it? It's entertainment. It's actually education.
Now, if there's not someone looking for what you want to do, you can just make it yourself. If no one's going to hire you, you just hire yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's also in our personalities, if I'm honest. Maybe that's neurodivergent.
Yeah, I always just thought I was an ideas girl. And now I've realised
I can sell those ideas, baby.
It's a trait.
It was so off topic.
No, it was good.
I just forgot that we had a question.
No. This is the art of conversation, Alizé. I always say that fashion would collapse without grandmas because everyone that I talk to, they say their biggest inspiration is their grandma or their mum.
It makes sense though, because even like when you post Shiloh, like obviously he's mimicking what you're doing, and like even when he puts your shoes on or like your bag or whatever, you learn to get dressed with your care, like whoever cares for you or like whomever that is, isn't it?
You're a stylist, obviously. Yeah. You're a celebrity stylist, actually.
Yeah.
I will say it. How did you get your start?
I went to uni. Obviously, after all of that, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a fashion designer. Yeah, whatever. Went to uni to do that. Dropped out in the first 6 months. Could not handle it. Like, just did not like it. I don't know whether it was like I didn't like it. It was just a very foreign subject. And then also I've started to realize that I'm just not technically able. Like I'm not good at sewing, like, or like I wasn't picking it up. I don't really care. Is actually the main thing. Obviously, you know, if I'm not interested in something, it's just not going in my brain, or it's going to have to take a lot of repetition for it to get into my brain. And I just wasn't very interested. So then we had a pathway on our foundation course, which was just styling. And then we were kind of like told to make a styling project. And I was like, I actually really like this, because then I styled it and I shot it myself. And I was like, I really like this, implementing lots of different things into one thing. Like with styling, it seems like it's one, you just pick clothes, but there's a lot that goes into it, like conceptually, relationships, just the handling of everything. Then obviously from a team perspective, like everyone has their input in a shoot, so it's not just you. It's not like there is feedback, like it's not just you leading it, like you all bounce off each other. Like there's a lot of things that go into it, and I think it was more stimulating for me and more interesting because you get an immediate final product. Like it's not so long.
Do you know what? I was gonna, when you were talking about the design thing, because I tried to take a pan cutting course before. There's too many steps before the fun.
I was in the seamstress.
I was wondering if you were going to say something like this.
No,
Like,
yeah, maybe it's that.
just
It's like, what, you don't release something for like 2 years?
No, not even that. It's just
I would
like
just not be
you've
interested
got to measure,
anymore.
you've got to do the angle, you've got like, it's just so many maths and like things that I don't care about before I get to just like pin and
yeah, or like drape,
wear it.
Yeah, like I think it's having too much strict stuff.
It feels too, and it's one of those things where, like, unless you're super technical genius, like, if you don't follow it like this, it is not going to work. I don't like that.
I think that's why I don't like baking.
You didn't like uni. You dropped out.
Dropped out styling, but I was like, styling sounds great. And then I had like a family friend, but she had like a friend of a friend that needed like an assistant on a test shoot, like a random test shoot, like didn't go anywhere. It wasn't really anything. I went and assisted. I was like, yeah, I like this. I assisted with her a couple more times. We did like an Agro Santos video. Any millennial baby, you'll know who Agro Santos is. And then after that, I was like, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do. And I went back to uni, but for a different course. So I did fashion marketing and textile design. To be honest, yeah, I just needed, from my mind, I just needed to go to uni just to have something that was, one, to get my parents off my back, and two, to say I was doing something, because I needed to follow this other thing. But obviously, if anyone knows about styling, it's a very long, grafting, no money for a long time vibe, where you have to build up a portfolio and like develop this craft and learn under other people and not really make no money. So how was I going to do that at the same time without having something to do in the part time? Also, this was back in the day when there was maintenance grant. There was, uni was $3,000 for me a year. Like, it was not the day of now. Anyone that I meet now, I'm like, should you go to uni at the same time if you really want to become a stylist? Probably not, because I just don't think it merits like the cost. If you want to get an education and want something in the background, I feel like anything to do with marketing is probably your best bet. Like, and also that comes so into what you do as a stylist. Like, there is strategy, there is marketing. Obviously, work with PRs all the time. There has to be an understanding as to what, it's not just creative. But also, there are some people that, for example, I believe I am not the most creative stylist. I'm really not. I know I'm not. But I can market and brand the hell out of something. I know what's going to look good. I know what the time, like, I can recognize trends. I know what's good, especially for artists and working with talent. It's really, really important. But I know there are people like that are just like Ibrahim Kamara, creatively absolutely stunning. I know that's not going to really come out of my brain.
No, but I think there's different types of creativity. I don't think you should just say that, because I see some styling and I'm just like, oh wow, a t-shirt and jeans. like you do. I said earlier, I look at your stuff for inspiration, because there is a creative element to it, but I do understand it's not so like avant-garde, surreal. Like, but if you were given a brief like that, maybe it would come out.
Yeah, and
maybe just. I think it happens a lot. Well, you tell me. Actually, with styling, I always feel like it's one of those things where you get hires to style like a certain person, and that's the thing that blows up, and then like you kind of, people want you for that look, so they keep booking you for the same type of thing
and the same type of person. Focusing on the fact, how did I become a stylist? I just assisted for as much as I could, or could find assisting roles. It's like I tell everyone to assist so much, but really I couldn't find as many roles as I wanted to. A lot of the time I was just doing stuff on my own. and like developing stuff with my friends. And luckily I came up in club culture, so a lot of the people I was around were becoming artists or doing things or had connection to here, and I was just here for the ride. Like I was, actively participating and enjoying what I was doing, like in whatever capacity that was. Like I was hungry to do it, so I was doing something that, even if it wasn't paid, but it was, again, a different time.
Yeah, I always wonder, is that still like how the youth of today like operate? Because I was quite similar in that, okay, not similar in that you knew you wanted to be a stylist. I don't know what the hell I wanted to do. I just wanted to be around clothes. But I was always found a way to be around them when I was not in college and like, 18, 19. I was always around, like, but you just insert yourself because you love it. I don't know if kids do that anymore. And like making shoots with your friends and like, do they still do that stuff?
I think there's other pressures for Gen Z, like,
or is it just like
making shoots with my friend? Every weekend I was making a shoot.
But the good thing about that was it felt like it was a bit more low pressure because the platforms were just kind of there, or you just make a blog. Like now it's a job. So then if the kids are like making, do they even make shoots? Do they make content? Like, is it just like they make TikToks?
I think that's where it's evolved.
And then it doesn't get many views. People will judge it by that. Whereas when we were younger, it was kind of like, oh, look at this cool thing.
I do think, like for us, especially you being that hardcore fan of like publication, editorial, creating shoots to mimic editorial was everything, because you wanted to become an editorial stylist or have your work in a magazine. Now it's like, like you're gonna do better with your TikTok. They're so much more vocal on what they should be getting, which we would never been able to do. You kind of had to get what you're given, pay your dues, do the Devil Wears Prada bullshit. And even now, like when it comes to discussing fees or budgets, it is a little bit, now I hide behind my agent, which is chef's kiss. But before, it is that kind of fear that either are you lowballing, or am I going too high, or are they not going to book me if I say this, or they're not going to rebook me if I say this, or is it going to come across rude? Like so much overthinking about your price because it's not the same as having a salary. So it went off topic again.
It's fine. Okay, so you've been a stylist for 14 years.
I don't know whether I've been a full-time stylist for 14 years. I haven't, but I started with that mindset 14 years ago, and I was assisting from then. So it's like I've been in the world since then.
And you haven't stopped, actually? Because you said when we were just chatting off camera, you've never had like a job.
No.
So that's very impressive.
I had part-time jobs, guys.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you never had to stop.
No. Well, this is the issue, is that every time I'd get like a part-time job, something would come up, or like obviously you got to take time off or call in sick to do your other shit you need to do. And I would just get fired. So then I was kind of rolling with the idea that eventually, obviously, I need to be freelance full time. But I had a lot of like things that were helping me. Like I was living at my mum's, etc. Like that was pushing me forward. But then I also missed out on a lot of things that my friends did first because I didn't have the money for it. So, but it all came around full circle. I'm freelance full time since DeMange Limited incorporated in 2018. I think you learn on the job, and I think styling is really much that. Like you learn as you go. It's something that you learn as a trade, essentially. You have to have an innate, like, natural raw talent. You need to have an eye for fashion, but you need to learn it from someone else,
right?
To kind of get it. Like, you're not going to learn it in a educational setting.
What do you think is the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome in your career so far?
I think getting in the space, getting in the door is a massive hurdle in itself, and like that takes a long time, and I think is what crushes people. Because if you don't get that opportunity, you don't get that little leg up, a lot of people just give up. And it's passing that. That's the first biggest hurdle. Then the second biggest hurdle is probably money, because that is where you're able to keep consistent. Like, am I going to keep doing this if I'm not earning anything from it, or like getting any reward from it in any kind, or like people won't recognize me for that role? So there is kind of like, I think, and another one actually is that it's very much a job that's based on validation. People need to like what you're doing at all times, and also like you. And that can be difficult for different personality types, and just like always having to cater to that at all times, because it's a service job.
It's like you're always being rated.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
And people observing your rating at all times, to see whether you're eligible for the next job. So that's hard. That's a big hurdle. That's like a tough, like it's a test of strength, like thick skin. Also now that we live in a time where we can comment and like give our feedback on something immediately. You know, I've had a couple people cost me. Not too many, but some. And that I think is one of the biggest hurdles.
What do you think is the most rewarding part?
The most rewarding part is probably seeing idea from start to finish. Seeing something in big lights, so to speak, if you know what I mean, when you see like your first billboard or like your first magazine cover or like just anything in a magazine.
Do you keep it all?
Yeah, of course.
I want to say, I hope so.
Absolutely.
I love that.
You're mad. That's my legacy. That's
good. No, I'm just, you know, if I had my, I'd be like, can I get the billboards like dragged into my home?
Yeah, if I could, I would. I remember when
it just must be so like, wow.
It is. It's like
I bet it never gets old.
Tear jerking. Yeah. No, honestly, I think because it was a dream of mine from such a little young age to be in this. And it's like sometimes when you see those big things, you're like, oh my god, like I did that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's really cool. Also from a team perspective, we all did that. But like, I did that.
There's no I in team, but there's one in Alizé. And Chani.
That is literally going to be my tagline. Thank you. That's my bravo. There's no I in team, but there's an I in Alizé.
More rewards.
Obviously financial rewards, and then other like little random things that come with the job, like perks that come with the job, are rewarding. Like brands gifting you, brands loving you up. Me being able to become, for example, a content creator from my job, like that has been a massive reward that I genuinely enjoy. It's like my hobby now, but I get paid for it. It's great. Like that's been a massive reward. And another reward, seeing your clients happy, big reward. Like ultimately, you do that. You want your client to be happy, to make them feel beautiful in any respect, or make them feel exactly how they envision themselves to feel. And you're a massive part of that. And that is one of the biggest rewards too.
You've had some very beautiful clients, people like Jorja Smith, Mahalia, so I'm sure that's not too difficult to make them feel beautiful. But is there anyone you've never dressed that you would like is on your top of your list if you could dress anyone in the world?
If I could dress anyone in the world, I think it would be MIA actually. I've always really loved how she dressed and like just her kind of whole aesthetic, because I think it's very quite similar to mine.
Do you know what? When you say that, I'm like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So much. And it's very like our generation as well.
Yeah, it is. It was the person
I remember when she was like the girl we all wanted to dress like.
Yeah, honestly, she was the girl and then she wasn't the girl sometimes. You know, I'm not going to deny there's been some times where she's said questionable things. But
the outfits though.
The outfits, also artistry, like I think she's a cool cat. Like she definitely is the essence of London as well. And me being from London, growing up in that time, I'm like, yeah, you're really cool. Also, like Nene Cherry.
Oh yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah.
I think I'd be super nervous though. My mum would be gassed. Do you know who I'd really like to start
Who?
though? Obviously, but I think anyone would. I know
what you're gonna say. Yeah, I knew
obviously.
It. She's just like, what I love about her, she hasn't got one look.
I know it's more like, obviously, I'm sure she is styled, but to a degree, she obviously has the wardrobe of gods.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. And everyone's going to want to dress her. So your options as a stylist would just be out of this world.
And she seems like the type of person, just based on like the shoots that come out of her, or with her in, I should say, not like she produces, but based on like the shoots you see her in, I feel like she's very open to just like let people dress her up.
That's one thing I really rate about any type of artist, person, talent, is if you could just go with the vibe, like not taking yourself too seriously, in the sense that like I love seeing someone in character of something completely different. I think it's the cover of Rihanna, or is it Interview magazine?
Yeah,
where it's like the it was
by Nadia Lee Cohen, and there's like the 4 characters.
Yeah, and it's like it was giving American Horror Story to a degree. I love that because I think that is the beauty of fashion. Like, fuck it, it's dress up, innit?
It's the whole point. I love it when you just see someone, you just think, God, they must have just been like, do what you want and just go with the flow.
Just went with it.
Like her on Perfect magazine at the moment is like, I'm obsessed with it.
And I think it's so nice also to not be something clear cut, clear, sexy, or the perception of what a woman should look like in terms of like, I guess male gaze actually.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Like, I think that's just way more interesting, and it's definitely something that's not common in styling. You're not going to work with a lot of talent that want to kind of, I guess, like, what was that woman's blog? It was literally called like the
Man
man
repeller.
repellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think more man repellent. More man repellent.
I have a question for you. Something I love about your style, because you are Martiniquan, right?
Yeah.
You incorporate a lot of madras into your looks, which I've always rated so much.
Let me go and get my little bag.
Yeah, no, I've always rated this about you so much.
Just my little travel pouch, just to prove I'm from the island of Martinique.
That's her certification pouch. But no, I've always noticed that about your style, and I love it. Being a fellow island girl, we are division over here. Is there any other ways that the islands inspire your look?
Well, actually, because I went to Martinique for the first time, like pre-COVID, with my brother and my dad. Growing up here, our West Indian culture is obviously more influenced by English colonized islands. So I didn't have a lot of like connection to the French islands like that, and I had to kind of like research that on my own. So when I went, I like had never seen their national dress before, do you know what I mean? Or like what would be considered their national dress, or like traditional dress, and even like traditional dancing, traditional like drums and stuff. And I was just like, this is really cool. Like, and obviously my dress print came from, I think, indentured workers when it came from India. Don't quote me though, but I'm pretty sure that is what happened. And so you'll see my dress a lot within like Dominica, Guadeloupe, Martinique, and then a few other Caribbean islands. And it is just a gorgeous print. Like, I brought back some fabric recently. You just reminded me of that, because I was meant to make some corsets out of it. Specific print that's like more like a brown madras actually. So it's like a brown, little bit of like a navy blue in there. So it's not as what you would consider like your average, like the average tablecloth in Martinique is the orange kind of, insert here.
You're kind of doing the colours now, actually.
But there are loads of different prints, and I was like, this would be gorgeous in a kind of like, sorry, Vivian, but I was going to copy a Vivian Westwood pattern, because I was just like, I've got this gorgeous corset.
Do you know something? Vivian Westwood patterns exist, so why doesn't every single person in the world make clothes that way?
I think
because if that is the option, like, just fuck everything else.
I honestly, I agree. I honestly agree.
Like, when I have friends that can sew, I'm like, but why aren't you sewing it like Vivian?
Like
that triangle panel in the front?
Like, the construction is actually really smart. Like, this is some geeky fashion shit. But
yeah.
Like, the way it's from on a hanger, you're like, oh, what the fuck is this? And then on, it's a thin poplin top, essentially button down, but on it creates a corset silhouette. I've
got a couple like this.
Yeah.
And you're like, how?
How? This is smart.
Magic.
Like, it's magic.
But this is what I'm saying. Good. You don't even need to put all the like whale bones and stuff. No. You can just learn, like, there should be like a fashion design degree and then like a Vivian Westwood
sub-degree
copying degree. because
I can't afford it, babe.
Listen, I'm trailing the apps every day. I get
but they're so, do you? I think like COVID, yeah, I was getting some good bargains. But now it's like, I think obviously since our passing as well, it's like it's up the ante on the product, and they don't release that much.
Yeah, now. That's true.
It's way smaller collections. Like, you can't, when you're like shopping for Viv, like there's like 6 pieces in a department store. It's not, well, 6 styles. It's not a lot of different. Then their output's not their output is probably normal, but it's not like what we see with everyone else.
Sorry, I'm just smiling because why are we talking about this?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Are there any other ways that it inspires how you dress other than the madras?
My jewelry. Like, I'm a heavy gold wearer. When you go to Martinique, every man, woman, there's a certain type of style of jewelry which I think is absolutely gorgeous. Like large coffee bean style earrings, just like the studs just hanging. And men will wear that like just too. Or like, even when the first time I went to Grenada, like you'd have like your earrings are more flat studs, but they go up your ear. And I just thought those are just such interesting local trends that is so, like, we lack localized trends now, especially with the homogeny of like just the internet, and go into these smaller places where there are trends that you would never have like considered because they're just not in your eye line. It's actually quite refreshing. Like, low key. That's not for me to like co-opt it or adopt it, but it's just like more recognizing and respecting it and sense that like that's cool, man. Like we don't have that. Like you live in London, obviously we have loads of we've got a cool person every 2.5 seconds, yeah, but we don't have niche little things that you could associate to Islington or Margate or something. Maybe Margate. I don't leave London, but anyway. But like going to Martinique, especially in the recent times, and experiencing more of my culture or connecting more with my actual culture, I just found it really interesting. Even Carnival.
Yeah.
So I went to Carnival, and obviously for me, growing up in London, I'm very indoctrinated into the Notting Hill Carnival setup. Very different in Martinique. Definitely more like pays homage to the original idea. And there's theme days.
I love
Every
it.
day has a theme, and people have to adhere to the theme in whatever capacity. But you obviously remix your theme. But also, I think that big thing about the Caribbean, they love a theme.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true.
Love a theme. Every party has a theme. Everyone has to adhere to the theme. Like
also love a white party.
I went to a transparence party, which was transparent, and when I was reading it, I was like, "What does this mean?" And obviously, it meant naked, basically, or like to a degree, or how to fashion yourself in a way that was naked
Like
but not naked.
illusion.
Yeah, nudity, but not nudity. And when we got to the front, we got denied to the party because my friend wasn't. Madame n'est pas assez transparente. She wasn't transparent enough.
I actually understood that, you know. I did my Duolingo. In the UK, it's a lot of like Jamaica, but there are other places to visit and to be from also, and they have style and they have their own cool stuff. So I just wanted to ask you that.
I think that is so interesting you say that, because I literally just came back from Jamaica.
That flows perfectly to my next question, because she just got back from a job in Jamaica. It looks so fabulous. I was like, you're allowed to reschedule our interview for this and this only. When I saw where you were, I was like, that's fine. When I was writing this question, I was thinking, you were just in Jamaica, but so that's probably up there. But what would be like the dream brief you could receive?
I think that was actually quite fun, even though we went for, I don't know how much I can talk about it, but we went to shoot 2 different projects, and we utilized half of the time to, one was for specific, more advertorial projects, so it had more of a lead to the brand, but also we had to kind of like formulate that with something natural, because we were also using everyday people in Jamaica. So it was quite a cool challenge, because it was like how to make this edgy, fashionable, obviously corporate to a degree, and cool, casual, and local. So that was kind of my brief, which was really cool. It's actually quite a beautiful piece, and I hope you get to see it in July. It comes out in July. You'll know by then. And the second part was more like, it was actually music driven to the artist. She's developing a project, so it's so interesting. You know what was interesting? Developing the creative as the music is being made.
Ooh.
In real time. And I think that is where we're going now, especially as creators, as stylists that work with artists, because everything comes out so quickly. There's less waiting time on music. It's kind of developing it as you go along, with everyone's input as we go, and with the environment, because we were being influenced by the environment of Jamaica. Music was being made in Jamaica, and it just, that was quite beautiful. Yeah.
Sounds like an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So that was quite a dream situation to be in.
Yeah. From like a creative standpoint, like it was intense though. Like you're with work. Obviously, if anyone's ever like gone on tour, like you're working with you're with your peers, your colleagues, 24/7, isn't it? But I think just the concept alone of being able to create it as the music is being creative, and like really thinking about color palette or silhouette as we're making music. Well, we're making music.
Your debut album out in July,
as you know, is quite rare and quite sick, because I think it's actually where you can really feel or input authenticity into it, like what is going to make it feel the most real to the music, which is actually, as a consumer, you're going to digest it so much better like that.
If there was one thing you'd want someone that's watching this right now to take away from this interview, what would it be?
Probably just go with the flow. Like that sounds so lame, but I think ultimately in life, just go with it. whatever you feel, whatever you see, whatever opportunity, like just be a yes person. Like not a yes man, because there's a difference. There's a difference between that. Don't be a yes man, but be a yes person. Just say yes. Just see where the world takes you. Like any journey, any meeting, any person, or any like situation can lead to something else that's even more beautiful. And just having that positive spirit of just kind of just going with the flow, move like water, baby, fluid. I think that like, and I think not having, obviously you can have goals, but not being so rigid on how the path, the journey of that goal to that goal will be, because you just don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know.
It's very sound advice, to be honest. And it's very easy to implement into your life no matter what you're trying to do. So I think that's a good note to end on.
And I think just like when I started 14 years ago, the lay of the land was completely different. And if I didn't move with the times, it would have been probably maybe a very different story. Or even now, like I'm now turning 33, and am I going to be a stylist forever? Maybe not, because I think probably the job will evolve, and I'm open to that. Like now I'm doing more content creation. Is it going to be me styling people for TikToks? It's a completely different world to me, you know, wishing to do Vogue, but now it's like, oh well, I'd love to do, you know,
Vogue TikTok.
Yeah, Vogue TikTok. I'm not mad at it, you know.
Well, it's jobs that have never existed before, so it is roll the dice.
Exactly, and just hope for 6.
Well, thanks so much, Alizé. It's been a joy. And we actually did it. We managed to answer all our questions and not like sit here for 3 hours talking nonsense.
And on time.
You can find Alizé in the description. Not literal Alizé, but her social media pages. Thank you.
I can't stop.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That was good.
Hello and welcome to Open Studios. Open. So welcome. We're based in Dalston. We have a lovely space. Here's me with the colorama. Many coloramas actually we've been inheriting lately. Our Pro Photo softbox. Just a little spin around the area. Our lovely Togo. Literally pride and joy of the space. My friend Bilal. He's trying to run away. Photographer. Seasoned photographer still. If you ever want to rent a space for photo shoots, video shoots, events. Also, we can create creative, like we can make creative ideas come alive. We've got an in-house roster of photographers, videographers, anyone really. And I'm a stylist, obviously. So yeah, get in touch. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. I had so much fun. I always have so much fun talking to Alizé. And she also said that nobody's ever asked her about wearing a dress, which I thought was really cool, because I love that she does that. That's one thing I've always adored about her style, that she always incorporates her culture. So it was really cool that we could chat about that, and she'd never talked about it before. If you enjoy this episode and you enjoy any of the other episodes, like, comment, subscribe, share. Share is the main one. And I'll see you next week. Bye.